such a strange and amusing place. One day you buy him rocket ship underpants, and then the next they're in outer space. Mama, don't you know you keep the whole world turning round?
Hi, this is Gretchen and Paige from MommyCast. Today we're speaking to Dr. Rene Hackeny from Parenting Playgroups. Welcome to MommyCast.
Thank you.
Okay, the tantrum. Everybody has witnessed it.
Sure.
Some of us have experienced it, especially in public. What do you do?
With tantrums, the idea first is to look at triggers for tantrums, what typically sets your child off. If you don't know what the triggers are, you might want to watch them for a week or two and jot down when a tantrum happens, kind of what it was over, what time of day it was. You might get to the end of a week or two and go, oh, it's always over sharing toys, or oh, it's always around 11, maybe we need to move lunch. And you think about how you can either avoid or fix or help them cope with those triggers. It's also looking at your own stress level, because when we as parents are stressed, our children temper tantrum more. They're reflecting what they feel, or they're having to escalate to be heard. They're having to get bigger and louder to get your attention if you're stressed out. So it's looking at the triggers in life or the triggers within the own family dynamics. It's also teaching children how to express it in other ways. Teach them that emotion language, because that's what tantrums are. They're emotion kind of on overload. And so it's teaching them in those moments to say, I'm mad or I'm frustrated, to replace that need for the tantruming. If you do see some triggers or you see how they tend to escalate, that's kind of your last chance to get in there. I tend to think of my older daughter, she gets a little weepy before she's hysterical. Or my younger daughter gets a little fidgety before she throws herself on the floor. If you see that fidgetiness, that it's about to happen, that's your sign to get in there. Give some empathy, give some positive intent, give some choices. Empathy would be labeling, wow, you're frustrated, because when you label, they tend to calm. Positive intent, you were working hard, kind of distracts them from the thing at hand. Or choices. Do you want to try by yourself or with help? Those ideas, you might avoid the tantrum.
I think one of the things too, when you're talking about schedule, going through and figuring out when exactly these happen, or if there's a special time of the day or whatever, I think also look at the food that your children are eating. Because I know my brother had a huge issue with sugar. He was very sensitive, and he would, eat sugar, and then not too much later, he'd just be off the wall.
It's really common. There's a lot of kids these days with juice. That you give them juice and they're kind of bonkers for 20 minutes.
That's crazy.
Matthew, if you don't feed him,
I know.
Oh my goodness.
We were at Disneyland, and his blood sugar had gotten low, and he was the meanest kid. It was like happiest place on earth, my foot. He was so angry, and there was nothing you could do. And I told Gretchen, I was like, he just needs to eat something. I mean, we're waiting for the food to come in the restaurant, and he's under the table cursing everybody. And then they brought the food, he eats it, and he's coming over and hugging us.
I mean, you could see this transformation.
It was like night and day.
It was unbelievable.
And that's one of those triggers that you can see coming. So you get ahead of it.
Okay, so once the tantrum starts, you've blown it. Right? And the tantrum starts. What do you do then?
Once the tantrum starts, and you read this in all the magazines, if you ignore tantrums while they happen, they tend to go away. And the idea is that tantrums are costly to children. Their eyes hurt, their head hurts, they're frustrated, they're embarrassed. And so if it's costly and ineffective, you can ignore it while it's happening, and then you're neutral after. It tends to go away. So the idea is to kind of withdraw attention until they start to catch their breath, until they start to calm, and then reconnect with them at that moment as if nothing happened. You don't want to reward it. They were tantruming to stay at the party, so they get to stay, or they were tantruming for a candy bar and they get the candy bar. That's going to reinforce it. But you also don't want to punish a tantrum. It still gives it power. It just changed your whole day.
My sister had that problem too, because her son didn't like going to playgroups. And so he would decide, he would go and say goodbye to all the people and go stand by the door and wait for his mom to come. And if she didn't, he'd pitch a tantrum, she'd get embarrassed, she'd leave.
And that reinforces it to be an effective behavior. And so the idea is stay as calm as you can and wait it out. There is a bit of a warning. If tantrums have happened in your house often, or if it's been kind of erratic how you respond, when you change and you try to ignore while it's happening and be neutral after, it's got to get worse than it's ever been. Just for a tantrum or two before it goes away. Because children have learned over time this is effective. And now all of a sudden it's not effective. They're going to try really hard before they'll give it up.
Hang on. You have to that battle, and you better win it.
Really consistent.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. For more information about Dr. Rene Hackeny and parenting playgroups, go to our website,
mommycast.com.
Mama, don't you know you keep the whole world turning round?
Hi, this is Gretchen and Paige from mommycast.com. Today we're with Dr.
Rene Hackeny.
Oh, Jesus. See, you jinxed it.
It is so much harder than it looks.
So your fault.
Okay.
Okay.